Hi, friends. It's me, Christiana Gaudet. I am live on my Facebook business page. Today is Saturday, and that means it's time for my favorite live broadcast of the week, the Saturday Psychic Sampler. This is a time when people can ask specific questions, and in fact, specific questions are required, and I'll give specific answers. So if you happen to be watching on a cross-posted page or in archive on Facebook, on my webpage, on YouTube, you won't be able to get your question answered. But if you listen, you might hear something that resonates for you. And if you do, go ahead and take that as a reading for yourself, because that's how these things work. Before we get started, I do want to remind you that I have 2 premium tarot classes on Zoom this month. We are doing a class on the minor arcana, and we are doing a class on spirit communication with tarot. So make sure you check out my upcoming events. I also have a free class on YouTube and a couple of tarot meetups on YouTube. Make sure you check out my events here on my Facebook page and also on my website. That would be tarotbychristiana.com. Just look for the events. Let me say hi to some people coming into the room. Nice to see you all here. Neil, Cassia, Elizabeth, Lisa, Jeanette, Jessica, and Liz. I'm happy to see all of you. Claire, it's nice to see you as well. So let's get started. Donna, nice to see you. This is Saturday, as I said, and so it is time for the Saturday Psychic Sampler. What that means is specific questions only. Tammy and Lauren, nice to see you. So specific questions only. Ask a specific question. I will give you a specific answer. I will get to as many people as I can. I mentioned earlier, this is like my favorite live of the week because we hear so many interesting stories, and I really love the opportunity to get in there and give some really specific answers, predictions, advices, all the things that can come up in this kind of a reading. So go ahead and get your questions in. I will get to as many people as I can. And let's see what we got going on. Okay, the first question I see is from Donna. How can my health improve? And obviously, when we talk about health questions, I have to say, of course, your doctor is your best source of health information, of course. But let's see what we can see here. What do we see going on? And I think that there really is a body, mind, spirit thing going on here, Donna. I think that you have to really look at your own emotional balance and the connection between what goes on for you emotionally and what goes on for you physically. I think that you need meditation. And I mean, there certainly could also be a need to see a doctor. I mean, I sometimes joke that it's either meditation or medication, but sometimes really it's both, right? So be ready to look at the mental and spiritual aspect of this as well as the more medical aspect of this. And I think that if you are patient and if you do those things, you will very likely see some improvement. And of course, I certainly hope that you do. Okay, Lauren, where and what does the universe want me to be and be doing? Okay, so honestly, the universe wants you to figure out what you want to do for yourself, wants you to feel empowered. This is not about waiting for your marching orders from the universe. It's about coming to a place of feeling empowered to do what you want to do and finding a way to make that happen and recognizing, Lauren, that it is possible for it to happen. Okay. Cassia, my divorce, how long is it going to take? I would like to move. So where are you in the process of that? When we look at the process from beginning to end, and you may be, further along in the process, I feel like it's going to take a minute because there's going to be some resistance in coming to agreement about things. And I feel like there are some things that have not yet been initiated. And so it will happen more quickly if you do what needs to be done to make it happen. I feel like some of that is going to be on you. Okay, Jessica, how is my relationship looking for the future? So I assume you're asking about a specific relationship right now and how that relationship will look going forward. The thing is, I feel like there are some situations in your relationship life where you would like to see change. And whether that's change within you, change within the circumstances, or change within another person, I feel like there's change that you're looking for. And it may be that change is not possible. So there's a sense of either change the basic circumstances or accept things the way they are. So I think there's a lot here that's going to be very much up to you, but some of that is going to be recognizing what is not possible to change. Okay, Lisa Hun Clay, nice to see you. Does my mother have any specific messages for me? I've really been missing her a lot. Oh man, I understand how difficult that is. When we look to your mother in spirit, Lisa, she wants you to be at peace. She wants you to know that as she looks back, with the wisdom of divinity that she now has, as she looks back over the course of her life, she recognizes that she was not always as empowered and she was not always as proactive as she might have been able to be. And she does not want you to use that as your exemplar, as the example for you. She would like you to be more proactive in your own life than she felt able to be in hers. That seems to be the message. I hope that makes sense. She also wants you to know, when we talk about people in spirit, people who have passed on, we very often say rest in peace, especially from the Christian paradigm. That's the thing, right? And what I find is some people are resting in peace. Some people do not want peace at all. They're doing all kinds of things. But your mother really did want peace, and peace is what she has. And she wants you to know that, and she wants you in your life to be at peace as well. Okay. Tammy, should I stay in Florida as a real snowbird? Works for a lot of people. Let's see. I think, it depends on why you're making your decision. If you're making your decision in terms of trying to be helpful to other family members, if you're trying to make your decision based on what is financially most appropriate, if you're trying to make your decision based on what's going to make you happiest, there's so much here around, there's so much here around, what is the decision-making criteria? And I think the real question we need to be asking here, Tammy, is what should the decision-making criteria be? And, if we look at Maslow's hierarchy, it needs to be at that very bottom rung. Financially, what is most appropriate? That's where you have to start that question. Over a period of time, it may be that you get to ask that question in terms of what's best for your family or what's best for your own well-being and your own enjoyment. And those are all good questions. But right now, the question is, can you afford it? If you can, you might as well. If you can't, then maybe not right now. Okay, Liz. Liz Moore, should I move further south in October or wait? You know, that's an interesting question, because when we say or wait, there's a sense of you should move further south, but not now, later. And is moving further south ever the right thing? It might be, but I think that's unclear. I am certainly going to say not now. I don't think now it feels right. And whether it would feel right in the long-term future, I think that remains to be seen. I would say, if possible, Liz, stay put for now until such time as you get a clear direction. And whether that clear direction would be further south or something completely different, I think you should stay open-minded. Okay, Rocio, pregnancy. So, a pregnancy test is pretty cheap. I always wonder about, doing these questions around pregnancy when you can get a definitive answer so quickly. But when we look at the idea of you having a child in the near future, if I had to guess, I would say it's not yet. I feel like, I wonder if there have been some questions for you around fertility. I wonder if this has been an issue for you in the past. I do see you having a child. I do think it will happen. But in terms of the timing, or in terms of how difficult it might be to make that happen, there are some questions there, one way or the other. But I do feel like it will happen. Okay, Steffi Varnica, so nice to see you. Steffi, how can I improve my meditation abilities? Let's take a look and see what we see. Interesting. I have a couple of things here. One is, I think it would be good for you to do some past life meditation. Looking at your soul, really going where your soul has been, getting out of the body, if that makes sense. I also think it would be good to do some inner child work in meditation. So when we talk about your meditative practice, and I know there are many different meditative practices, many different traditions, and I have no idea what yours is. I'm not suggesting replacing whatever it is, but perhaps adding to it. And adding to it some very specific stuff having to do with soul work, having to do with inner child work, having to do with healing work, to really get into a place where you can do some work. And, there's many different kinds of meditations for many different kinds of results. But this, I think, is something that would be very helpful to you. Okay. Varnica, why am I not able to lose weight? Is it related to my emotions? So, of course, this is a good question for your doctor. Definitely check and make sure there's not something medical going on. But I do feel like you're going to need some new practices. It may be a new diet. It may be new exercise practices. If it is emotional, it may be that emotions are keeping you erratic in terms of diet, exercise, that kind of thing. But the good news is, I think you're going to get it figured out. And I think you will be able to achieve your goals here ultimately. Melissa, nice to see you. Okay, going through a massive change. Glad you're here. Go ahead and ask your question if you haven't already. Okay, Misty Foster. I have an opportunity to expand my business into some retail. Curious if it's a good move for me. Is it time to take on retail? Let's take a look and see. Oh, yes, it is. I think it's a great idea. Just make sure once you invest in it, that you also market it properly. So invest in the retail and then invest in the marketing. Okay, Chris Wainwright, will I ever get pregnant? Okay, let's take a look at what we see there. Are there actual fertility issues going on here? I feel like there could be either for you or for your partner. And so there may need to be, some medical intervention. I think that with the right assistance that you absolutely could, yes. But it does look like, you may need to work with some fertility specialists. Okay, Claire, are we finally going to get what we are owed as per the court ruling? Let's take a look. And I'm so sorry you had to go through all that. That sounds really, really stressful. And the answer is yes. I absolutely believe that you will. You may have to fight to pursue it, like you had to fight to win it. And now you may have to fight to pursue it. But I think it'll happen, yes. Okay. I won't typically do more than one for a person, but in this case I will because I've got a little extra time and it's Tammy. And the Quatrano family has actually been with me for, more than 20 years. So, Tammy, I feel my mom around. Is she here? Why is she here and is she with anyone else? Okay, let's take a look and see what we see. So yes, I think she's with you and I think she's with your kids as well and also with your sister. I think she's there with you just for protection and healing, just to be there. And she loves your dogs. There's that too. She likes to play with your dogs. Neil, any messages from my parents? Neil, specifically from your mother. Your mother wants you to know that she is really, really proud of you. And she worries because she recognizes that in life, she, like all of us, was subject to her own human fears and judgments. And she feels like she put those fears and judgments on you. And she recognizes now, again, from that place of divine wisdom, that those things are not helpful or necessary. And so she wants you to go forward without fear and judgment. Karen Winkle. Have I made progress letting go of my biggest guilt? Well, I think the fact that you can identify that it needs to be let go of is a good start, but it's a start, not a finish. To recognize that, at every moment, and this is true, I think, for pretty much every human on the planet, at every moment, mental health issues barred, every healthy individual is doing the best that they think they can do in that moment. And whatever it is you're feeling guilty for in that moment, you were doing the best that you could. And the results of it were necessary and wondrous. So it's all good. And that's what you got to know. Okay, Chris Wainwright, we'll go ahead and do this for you as well. Grandmother passed away 12/12/12 on her 60th wedding anniversary. Wow. Is she okay? Not only is she okay, she is actively involved in your life. She is actively present in your life. And when you speak with her, she hears you and she tries to find a way to answer. So listen for her. Okay, and thank you all so much for your feedback. I don't always read it aloud, but I do read it. Okay, Christina, school is a bit light right now. Should I take advantage and rest or work ahead as much as I can? Can you do a little of both? Work ahead a little, rest a little, and my goodness gracious, couldn't you play a little too? Let's try to have some balance there. I know that's a foreign concept for you, but, to try to use this extra time with balance. Okay. Teresa Iannuzzi, nice to see you. How can I best navigate through my current living situation? slowly, carefully, and with spiritual love in your heart, trying to be nurturing of yourself and others. And I have to feel like this is a temporary situation. So to recognize it as temporary, and if you are living with a difficult person or people, keep your mouth shut as much as possible, and it will be okay. Joe Jackson, nice to see you. I keep seeing a specific name everywhere of someone I know. Movies, signs, etc. Any significance? I think there probably is significance, but not necessarily what you think it is. It may be about healing. It may be about a lesson learned. It could be a lot of different things. So yes, there is significance, but you're going to have to do some work to figure out what the significance is. Okay. Okay, so Melissa's question, will moving keep me safe? And the answer is, you have been through so much trauma. It is hard for you to feel safe ever. And so there is this sense here of, there's being safe and there's feeling safe. And you're going to have to do a lot of healing work in order to feel safe. And along with moving, you probably have to do some other things to ensure your safety. But yes, I think you can secure your physical safety, but you will also have to do your emotional healing. Lynn Collin, nice to see you. My direct boss is on the other side of the state. With COVID, travel has been greatly restricted, therefore interaction is limited. How does he feel about me and the job I'm doing? Honestly, Lynn, the sense I get about this boss is if he had a problem with you, you would know. He's not one to pussyfoot around. He is not one to keep it inside. If there was an issue, he would address it with you. So if you're not getting a lot of feedback, I would assume no news is good news. I also think that you will be having some kind of meeting with him, at least on the phone, before too long. Should you ask him for more specific feedback? I think you could say to him, because you do have a really good working relationship with him, I think you could say to him, I'm open to any feedback you have. Feedback always helps me work better. Whatever you have, I'd love to hear. And that might help you. But I'm not worried. Let's put it that way. I'm not worried. Okay, Taylor. May I have a card on how I can move forward with my spiritual gifts? The answer is study, 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 study. Spiritual gifts are like any other talent. Compare them to musical gifts. You may be a great and talented musician, but without study, without lessons, you're not going to be as good as you could be. And the same is true with your spiritual gifts. You've got to study, to practice, to learn, to hone them, to figure out how they work best. Do the work, and you will be very pleased with how that goes. Martha, my friend Barbara is soon making her final earthly journey. I'm so sorry. Her daughter wants only family to be with her. Does Barbara know I wanted to see her and how much I appreciate her? She absolutely does. And, I think the daughter's wishes are the daughter's wishes, and we have to honor that. I am not sure that is in Barbara's best interest, to be honest with you. But Barbara has her angels and ancestors around her. Barbara is fine. And Barbara will be in communication with you from the other side. You have had a very special friendship. She will be a guiding light for you once she is on the other side. The relationship is not over. It is only changed. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for the nice feedback, folks. I really appreciate it. Okay, so this is for Julia Quatrano. She wants to know if she should stay in the relationship and live with him or if she should move on. It's painful to move on, But I think there is ample evidence here that logically that is the right thing to do. And it feels easier to stay with him. And there is a connection here. There's no doubt about it. So the harder path is to move on, but it's the better path, for sure. Okay, and Liz says so many questions are appropriate for me personally as well. Thanks for the insight. That's great. Okay, Martha, looking for messages from spirit. So today, Martha, this is Martha Rivera. We're doing specific questions. So if there is a specific loved one in spirit that you would like to ask a question about, you may. If you have a specific question about your own life, you may. But that's what we're doing here today. And of course, I'll be back Monday with your 3-card weekly reading. And I'm thinking, because October really is the month of spirit communication. That's why we have Halloween, because the veil between the worlds is at its thinnest. And I feel like we should probably do some special lives in honor of that will just be about mediumship and communication. Okay, so Nellie, do I see spirit on you? Okay, you've been dreaming of your dad. He passed away 4 years ago. So do we see, what do we see about your father? Do we see your father around you? Your father is definitely around you, and he's trying to be protective of you. He feels like right now in your life, you may be making some decisions that are not in your best interest. You may be allowing fear to influence you. You may be allowing other people to influence you in ways that are not in your best interest, Nellie. And so your dad is trying to guide you and to ask you to really think about what's in your best interest. Okay, and Martha Rivera, very good. Your current relationship, what's going on with your current relationship? I see a lot of anxiety there. At the very least, I feel like there needs to be more communication. And I wonder if this relationship is really working for you. I really do. I wonder if this is what you want, honestly. And I think you need to allow yourself room to think about that. Okay, Liz Moore, message from your late husband. He trusts you so much. We would say that he's there to guide you, except he trusts you to make good decisions. And he wants you to know that it was important for you to have this chapter without him, even though he misses you so much and you miss him so much. And the two of you had a good connection in so many ways. He wants you to know that you will see him again. You will be together again. And he wants you to know that it is appropriate in this lifetime for you to find other love, not as a replacement for him, but simply as another person to help you on your path of growth. Okay. Jill, messages from either mom or dad. Let's see what we got going on here. I believe they are both with you, Jill. And I believe that right now you're going through a tough time. There is some kind of sadness or grief. Maybe it's about them, but maybe it's about something else going on in your life. And they are trying to give you comfort. They want you to know how much you are loved. And they want you to know that you are smart enough and powerful enough and capable enough to handle anything, but that you don't give yourself enough credit and you don't have enough faith in yourself. And, they are aware from where they are that they may be part of the reason for that, but they need you now to heal from that. Do I do parties in Venice, Florida? Yes, not during this time. Right now, I'm not seeing people in person. But once COVID is under control, I would be happy to come out and see you in Venice. Absolutely. And in the meanwhile, I'm doing Zoom parties. And wherever you are in the world, I can get together with you on Zoom for a private reading or for a party. Okay, so from my perspective, I've answered every question. Except for the one that just came in. And if you have not asked a question, or if you did and I accidentally missed you, go ahead and put that question in. And let's see, Laura Maloney. Okay, messages from your loved ones in general. Okay. You know, the message is about healing from childhood trauma. That whatever your angels and loved ones and guardians are gathering around you, Laura, to help you find your healing, but you have to help them help you. Okay, and Tammy, prices to work on Zoom, same as my regular prices. Reach out to me, private message me, let's get something together. That's for Tammy, and for anyone else, anywhere in the world, we can do it. So I am available for readings even today or tomorrow, and certainly next week. Feel free to reach out. We can do Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, telephone, Duo, WhatsApp, you name it, we'll do it. I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Take good care. And remember, I have 2 great tarot classes coming up this month. All you have to do is go to my events here on Facebook and find them, or on my website, tarotbychristiana.com. Just look for the events. Please like this video. Please share it. Please make sure you like my page here, and I will look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.